Hello, everyone. Welcome to our what is this called? Prep, teacher prep for every the teachers out there. Sorry, I'm getting a little flustered because usually I call this my teacher advisory board. Today we have a really awesome uh, webinar for you. This is Teachers on Teaching, Finlit, and Preparing for the Future. What we have today is that we have a bunch of teachers out there in the world. They're going to be able to chat. Please, who is listening, if you want to put your name, where you're from, in the chat box, we'd love to hear from you. But we have our Banzai Teacher Advisory Board, which has been handpicked teachers from across the country who help us stay abreast on the different issues that are happening with teachers. They also test a lot of our products and they see things before they get introduced to the public. I've been working with them for about a year now. It's been a really wonderful experience. My name is, first of all, please be social with us. We are really excited about our various social media offerings that we have. And so take a look at the different things, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your Twitter, now X's, and check out all of our offerings that we have. Without further ado, I am Rick Curtis. I am a curriculum writer here at Banzai. I also head up and run the teacher advisory board. And in a second, we have four teachers right now who are live with us. Others might be joining us. I'm just going to have them introduce themselves and tell them a little about their backgrounds and what they do with financial literacy. And after that, I'm just going to start jumping into questions about teaching financial literacy today. But what we really want is for the questions to come from the chat. We want to know what is the biggest issues for you teachers out there. And advisory board, if you guys have questions or topics you want to bring up as well, feel free. If we run out of questions, I have a whole list of questions too that we can turn to. So without further ado, let's start hearing from our teachers. Sam, do you want to start?
Yeah, my name is Sam Johnson. I teach fifth grade math in Minnesota. I've been using Banzai for about 7 years now. It's been a nice supplement, kind of a fun feeling thing after state testing, but it's also kind of nice because Minnesota is going to be moving towards financial literacy standards with our next round of math standards. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Jacob, do you want to go?
Sure. Jake Yeager, I'm from Northern New York, and I've been using Bonsai since the very beginning. They were kind of my foot in the door of personal finance. So happy to be here, happy to help. It's a great thing for anything from emergency plans to helping you out for the whole semester or the whole year. I am a believer and a user, so happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Renee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Renee Nairo. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I teach career connections in which we teach financial literacy. And I've been using Banzai for about 6 years. I'm really excited about the growth and the new programs. Um, Part of Ohio, I believe, also either has into play or already has into play a financial literacy requirement for high schoolers. So this is great at the middle school and elementary. And I'm really and truly a firm believer in educating the youth on financial literacy, and that is why I have a huge passion and support for Bonsai. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We also had Kaylee Schultz was on here earlier. I think her connection might have got uh, lost. So I hope you're out there, Kaylee, and hope you're figuring that out. And some other teachers might be popping in. Again, it's still the school year, and we're from all different time zones, and so it might be just a different timings or different people. But we got a great batch on right now, and I'm going to start off with a question that's been really on my mind, and Renee, you hit on this a bit. Um, how how do you line your financial literacy standards and lessons with your states, with your districts? What are those expectations? Do you feel like you're able to hit those expectations, or what issues do you run into facing those expectations?
Are you asking me specifically? Sorry.
Oh, I'm asking the whole group
Okay.
specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go first, I suppose. For us, New York State's got a pretty good business teacher kind of collaboration. It goes across the whole state. If anybody's in New York, and it's not on that web list, you definitely want to get on that email chain. And they kind of set out all these different standards and different resources that you can use. So, in combination with what they send out, and then what my district, wants to see in the program or they want to elevate, as well as what I kind of want to see. So I kind of take the different standards and kind of mash them together to kind of check off the boxes for multiple. Because New York State might say they want, just personal finance or just career resume building and things like that. Where my own standard might be a little bit deeper of actually applying for jobs and taking the resume into the personal finance and getting your budgets together. And then I'll take, Banzai's resources and start plugging it in where it fits all those different things. So for us, at least, it's not, maybe I could be totally wrong, but it's not as black and white as I would like it to see it, kind of nationwide or a statewide standard. And everybody's going to have something different. But New York is definitely part of one of those states that are trying to make it a golden standard or graduation requirement. We're not quite there compared to some of the other states, but I think it's on the right track. So just trying to align the many different resources as best as possible, I suppose.
Awesome. I know a big project we're working on right now at Banzai is have a much more robust state by state standard and how our curriculum will hit those standards. We've actually I've been creating articles and adding things to our games in order to make sure that we're hitting all of those standards. And so something that has been on my mind, I know one kind of it's not an official nationwide standard, but the Jumpstart standards is also something that we use and we look to a lot and are often talking with them. So I think Jumpstart is a great resource if you're like, oh, I'm not sure exactly what I should be teaching. Going to them has been useful for us when we're making our contact. Um, any other thoughts on state standards?
I know Minnesota's just kind of starting to get into adding in this financial literacy stuff, at least at the fifth grade level anyway. And I think it's nice to have Banzai to give them a chance to kind of play around with those decisions. That's really what we've been using a lot this week. Because one of the standards is going to be evaluating pros and cons of different um, purchasing options. So, cash versus check versus credit, things like that. And so giving the kids a chance to make those decisions within the Banzai games and then kind of see the results of it with, the nice benefit of a start over button for some of the kids when things have gone not so good with their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's been really good for them and kind of just to see a little bit, what it's like in the real world for them.
Yeah. And speaking of real world, one of the other questions I really wanted to ask is how do you help the students connect what they're learning in the classroom to the real world? What is the things that you do to help bridge those things? I think for some school topics that's not as easy to do, but I think with financial literacy, it's super important to be able to integrate those into real world experiences.
I talk. Oh, go ahead. Um, I bring my own experiences. I talk to the kids about student loans, how we're still paying for my husband's student loans now, almost, it's embarrassing, 20 years out. And we talk about credit cards, how when you turn 18, they're going to offer those. What does that mean? We talk about so many different things, and I try to share my experiences, but then also share real life things that hopefully bring meaning. I talk about buying a house and how I, how to save for that, and so many things. It's so important. We talk a lot about how expensive things are, just in general. I genuinely feel, at least in Ohio, Ohio is fairly affordable to live. Columbus is a little bit more expensive, but it's not as easy to afford on one income and by yourself, especially starting out. So saving and those kinds of things we talk about a lot. So that's just kind of how I show importance. I mean, I bring up my own pay stub. I mean, I show them, listen, this is what I'm supposed to be getting, but this is what I actually see. So
Mhm.
that's what I do.
Awesome. Sam, you had a comment as well?
Yeah, we actually have been having a lot of conversations with my fifth graders this week, and it's so funny to hear like their ideas on how much things cost. One question was what they thought the average price of a house in our area was, and it was everything from $2,000 to $2 million.
Wow.
So just their concept of how much things actually cost. We talked about, you know, okay, what does it actually look like? What are the expectations with that? I actually sent a message to all my parents and the students and said, hey, I think it's worthwhile going through the post tests together, talk about those things, get those conversations out there. And I had a couple parents respond back that, yeah, they had really good conversations from that, and just giving them a chance to make that connection at home with family, with, the things that are important to them personally has been really awesome to see.
That's great. Uh, one of my another one of my questions is how do you help students talk about what they learned about financial literacy with their families? And I imagine that a lot of kids come from a lot of different situations, and finances can be a tricky thing to talk about. What are some strategies or ways that you're able to help them do that?
I kind of lead with personal finance. Traditionally, it was taught in the home, and try to kind of give them some background and make them kind of be okay. Okay, maybe I haven't heard these things because it was traditionally taught in the home, and maybe my home's a little bit different. So I try to equate it to almost like your sports teams. Like if you guys are a Cowboys fan, I guess we're in New York, so Bills fans or Jets fans or Giants fans, then probably you're going to be a fan of one of those, one of those sports teams, or if your family likes hockey. So it kind of comes the same way with personal finance. If your family has always rented an apartment, that's all they really know, and that's all they can kind of teach. So trying to connect students with that real world kind of options, and trying to let them know that there's a little bit more out there than just what they see in their home, or where, in regards to mortgages or car loans or leasing, or whatever it may be. And I start really right there, just trying to make those real life connections. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. My parents do lease their car. My parents do rent their apartment, or they own their house. And then we start kind of jumping off from there, where, as Renee said, I'll show them my W-2, I'll show them the taxes that come out, and try to slowly bring in, okay, this is what it really looks like in real life. Maybe do some grocery shopping exercises, and the budgeting is usually the biggest one, where they're like, I'm pretty expensive. And I'm like, yeah, you and your four brothers or sisters or whatever it is, starts to add up after a while. And just making those connections where a lot of families don't have that open conversation at the dinner table, because maybe they don't have dinner together to have these conversations, or they might not ride the bus together, or carpool together. So just trying to open that up and giving kids almost questions or topics that they can broach with their parents, like, hey, do we rent or do we own our house? Do you lease your car or do we own our car? And giving them those jump out points, and taking away that kind of that, like, oh, we don't talk about money, and taking the fear out of it and making them knowledgeable.
Some Yeah, I think, man, I wish I would have had more of those kind of conversations with my family and kind of learned some things about that when I was younger. And today, I think we live in interesting times. Do you get a sense from your students about an uncertainty about their financial future as things are changing, things like inflation, the cost of things? Do you feel like they're aware of that? And if so, how do you address those issues with them?
So I don't know that they're necessarily like seeing inflation, I would say, or really kind of, I mean, understand what's going on. You can explain it, but like, do they see it a whole lot? Maybe not so much, but definitely there has been a shift. I feel like, don't want to age myself, but in it used to be kind of my age group. You would be 18, you go to college, you'd move out, you go into the military, but you kind of just like leave home and kind of do your own thing. And a lot of kids, when I have these conversations, I'm like, it is like for a 1 bedroom apartment. What are you going to do? And they're like, oh, I'll just stay at home. There has been, I feel this shift with probably like under 30, maybe mid 20s. If they're done, they are staying at home. They are either saving and going to college and coming home. I mean, I see parents building kids little tiny homes in their backyard or on land.
Mm.
They're taking garages. I mean, so I see a lot of younger kids, not all, coming home and living because I'm assuming naturally they want to, or it's just too expensive. So, and I don't, and that's just in Ohio. I'm not sure what everybody else is seeing, but so there's been a shift in that piece, I think.
Okay. Any other shifts that you're seeing or trends or different feelings about financial? And it's fine if there's not. Also, in the chat, the teachers watching, feel free to ask the questions that are on your mind. I've got a broad array of questions that I'm going through. But is there anything specific you'd like to know? Just put it in the chat box, and we will be happy to answer that. Okay, so going into teaching curriculum, can you share like some activities or lessons that really resonate with your students when teaching financial literacy? What are the things that where they perk up, or the experiences that where they're like, oh wow, I didn't know that. I'm glad I know that now.
We've been having some conversations this week, just differences between debit card and credit card. They've heard the difference between them, but they've never understood. And I bring up, I know adults who couldn't tell me the difference between the two of them. So making it a point that, hey, this is a good thing to learn. We want to learn this stuff. It's brought up a lot of really good questions, and some are like off the walls. If I don't pay my credit card, am I going to go to jail?
Okay.
To, okay, how does that work? If I pay a credit card, what's my bill look like? What am I paying for? What does interest mean? So we've just being able to have those conversations with them, just let them talk, let them bring up the things that they're thinking. Giving them a chance to play the Banzai games has been really good too, so they can see those choices, they can make choices, they can kind of experiment with decisions with the safety net of it's not actually their money. Maybe one time they play it. I always have them played a couple times. One time they make more fiscally
Mhm.
responsible decisions, and the next time they just go to town. Just whatever you want to do, you go for it, kid, and see how that plays out. And they just love being able to see that and make those choices and kind of like, oh, hey, that was fun, but now I'm at the end and I have no money. So yeah, I don't want to do that the next time I play.
Awesome.
I have similar experiences to Sam because I'm also teaching fifth grade and we do lemonade stand. And I look forward to lemonade stand like all year because we use coins and money to do like decimal operations, and a lot of students don't know what coins are. Like, how much is a nickel? I don't know. And so Banzai like kind of gears them up to having to understand what each coin is. And it helps later. So they're actually like doing some decimal operations this last few weeks and relating it to Banzai because they were like, hey, I remember I had to make change in my lemonade stand, and I know that a nickel is 5 cents. So it's really cool because they they don't know it until they have to use it, and they had to use it in lemonade stand, and it's not their actual money, but they kind of feel like it is. And then the other best part about it is the same thing Sam said, when they go through an experiment with like how many different um, results can they get from lemonade stand, can they make the most money in the class, can they make the least money, and like they keep wanting to play, which is really cool.
Awesome. Kaylee, have you been on the whole time and I didn't realize it? I
Well, kind of.
okay.
But I switched to my computer and it was like, you need to update your computer to get like the video or whatever. So I tried to like update it, and then I think I was still there, but like kind of lurking. So then I switched back to my
All
phone.
right. Oh, Thank you so much for popping in. Do you mind just introducing yourself a little to
Sure.
the
Yeah.
crowd?
I'm Kaylee Scholes. I'm a fifth grade math teacher in Vermont, and I have been using Banzai for about 5 years. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for joining us. Uh, yeah, one thing we do at Bonsai is we're trying to like make things interesting and but also be helpful for we want to teach the lessons to the students. Outside of just grading, what are ways that you find as teachers that you know that yes, the students are getting it, and how do you measure that as a teacher with your students when teaching about financial literacy?
For me, I teach high school. Actually, I teach a third grade class this semester. But with high school is when the kids actually use the vocab, and I was just kind of thinking about kind of what the activities like the Lemonade Tycoon and some of these other things. But one of my most, it might not be the most exciting because it's in the booklet, it's paper, but it's just that opening vocabulary. It just exposes them to all the buzzwords, like I think Paul said in the chat, credit scores, filing taxes, stock market. These are all words they hear all the time, but they don't know what they mean. So then once they start putting two and two together and using it proper, I have one student that loves Roth IRAs, which I don't blame him, but that's his biggest thing on every single assignment. He's like, you should have invested in a Roth IRA. You should have done that. So I know
Not bad advice.
he's latching onto that, but he's getting it. Taxes is always another big thing, and I try to remind him like everybody's different, every state is different, everywhere that you live can be a little bit different. So just taking away, once again that fear of what these words actually mean, credit score and deductions and all that fun jazz. But as I said, that first, if anybody hasn't used Banzai, those booklets, I always order them every year because I say if you don't learn anything in my course from my supplemental materials, this booklet right here has everything you need from the vocabulary to how to fill out what is a W-2, how to fill out your tax forms and what that all means. It might not be the gamification side, but at least they have that really key takeaway that I know that if they at least look at it more than once, that they're going to walk away with some key terms, and it's more than just a test grade or anything like that. They have that in hand, that tangible, I guess, workload. And when I see them filling out the different forms in the workbook and actually using some of the words in the class, I'm like, all right, that's a win. I'll take that.
Awesome. And for those of you listening who may not know what Jacob is talking about, is that Bonsai provides workbooks. We have an elementary, a middle school, a high school workbook. We also have a digital wellness workbook. And right now, I am in the process of getting a college and careers workbook together for students who are just about to enter that next step in life. So those are all free if you sign in bonsai.org and sign in as a teacher. There will be a link to the workbooks just kind of on your teacher homepage. So please, please, please take advantage of that resource, although we are mainly provide most of our content is digital, and you can also download PDFs of the workbooks if you want. We are happy to ship those to you for free. There's something I'm very proud of. I've been working on them for several years, so feel free to take advantage of that. All right. Um, uh, what have been the challenges this year in teaching financial literacy, or what have been the challenges you've seen just over the years of teaching it, and what are either some solutions you found for those challenges, or maybe we could just talk about potential solutions as those challenges are presented.
I just I think some of the challenges are just basically kind of like where we work. Predominantly where I work, a lot of my students rent. Um, and so when I'm introducing the concept of buying a house, what that looks like, I assume naturally what I know, but I have to gain more background information, and there's things that they are missing or need that I need to do a better job of, just for the fact that they don't predominantly where I work, they they just don't own homes as much. That and just considering different, we have a lot of ESL kids, we have a lot of kids that come from different countries, and so what does that look like and how do we prepare them is just very different. And so I'm just constantly learning different things and trying to change and get better at that piece. So
Thank you. One thing that we have been thinking about a lot is that financial literacy tends to cater to people who have or at least have some either financial means. It's not as or the sources out there isn't maybe as useful for people with some other financial backgrounds, especially particularly hard financial backgrounds. So that is something that we are always talking about and considering. How can we make sure that just talking about a bank and go to the bank may seem easy for me, someone who grew up in a home in a culture where banks were just the thing you use, but that's not everybody's experience. And does anyone else have other experiences or thoughts on helping people with different financial backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and ways to consider teaching financial literacy for them?
I always just try to make it be a conversation, let the kids bring what they do know. When I try to present things, not treat it as this is the expectation, but this is an option. This is how things can work. But then always encouraging, like, get those conversations at home. I've had them do interviews with parents at home or, a trusted family member. I've had them do, trying to think what else I did, but yeah, just trying to make it be a conversation. Just let them bring what they know, present what I know, but never present it as this is the only way, this is the only option.
Okay.
Just an option.
Awesome. And I think that's, I mean, so true for so many financial literacy topics. It's not like what is the right answer every time in every situation. It's about understanding what your situation is, understanding the risks that are involved, and making choices based on those risks and the potential rewards from them. We try to make our games to be very non judgmental in terms of the choices they make, but they just make choices and then they see consequences and help them learn, oh, well, maybe that may or may not be a choice I make in the future. We've had some chat questions. One question was, when is the college and careers going to be available? So the college and careers workbook is going to be available this fall. And so I think you could start ordering probably sometime in August. I would say they'll go to print here in the next couple of months, and then they'll be ready for this fall. So feel free to check that out. You could also use our college and careers digital content, which is available right now, including things like Casa College, and a scholarship course, which also involves a scholarship that the students can apply to. We just did our first test run of that, and it went really well. I was on the board of choosing the 5 students who won $1,000 from that scholarship, and we hope to be able to do it again next year. So that's our college and career question. Evelyn asked, do you foresee any content being created for adults in the future? That's a great question. So if you go to banzai.org, and you don't even have to log in, but we have something called our Wellness Center. That Wellness Center is full of articles, coaches, and calculators designed entirely for adults. So yes, we do provide a sort of an entire suite of tools for adults to use. So that's at banzai.org, the Wellness Center. Also, I think that's not a horrible resource to introduce your students to if they're interested in financial literacy or want to learn more in-depth things on the topic. We have over 50 articles there and various coaches, from things like getting out of debt to the cost of a new baby coming into your life. And so, I'm not going to judge whether that's going to be a thing for any of your students or not. So, the next question is, oh, I think I hit all of them. Awesome. And oh, great. Emily is on. She is one of the great members of our curriculum team, so she is helping fill these questions. Thank you, Emily, for being on. I appreciate it. All right. moving on. Um, what kind of tools have you used to help with your own professional development? I know we had kind of a big talk about this earlier, or I think it was perhaps even last year. But it seems like it's tricky to get professional development specifically about financial literacy. That a lot of things are maybe cater to math and English, but not necessarily for financial literacy. So, what ways that you've been able to use in your world to just help learn? Maybe it's books, maybe it's tools, maybe it's conferences that you go to. What has been the best things for you to just become a better financial literacy teacher?
For me, it's just like staying connected to the world and kind of what's going on, especially with interest rates changing and inflation, but also what's going on, nationally, and then what's going on in our own little area. We live in rural New York. The kids would say in the middle of nowhere. So trying just to stay connected there. But also, playing the games and doing some of the tests in the curriculum, before we use it. You guys change and update. Banzai does a great job at keeping on top of things. So actually doing that because, I have a car and I have a house, but things do change. Things, are reintroduced or newly introduced, like cryptocurrencies or different kinds of ETFs or whatever it may be. So just staying on top of the industry through things like Banzai. And there's other, competitors and things like that that also publish resources that I try to just read or check in on. A couple different places send a weekly newsletter. And then another big help has just been my state has a business teacher email chain newsletter, as I mentioned earlier. And they push out not only job openings, but different curriculum and standards and different resources. And that's been really good for me to stay on top of personal finance because embedded in those different resources will be, articles and links to different Google Drives that are super helpful. So just trying to stay on top of that kind of stuff. But as you said, there's not a ton of PD besides from you guys and from, one of your competitors that, really help us try to stay on top of the industry.
Mhm. Awesome. And thank you for being not necessarily mentioning our competitors, but I also we understand we want teachers to get all the great resources out there, and there's definitely things that can be used in with Bonsai hand in hand. And so if it's out there and it's useful for you, please everyone take advantage of it. Uh, um, you anyone else have a answer to that? Other ways that they've used to get kind of professional development or just stay abreast of the current topics in financial literacy?
Yeah, I don't, it's kind of professional development, I guess. It's just like a resource more than anything, but the NEA has like a whole list of resources for teaching financial literacy. I think it's K to 12. I know it's at least K to 6.
Mhm.
They have like games, lesson plans, and like informational things for teachers to read. I have used a couple of the games in my classes, and some of the lesson plans, I just remember like one of them was like teaching second graders about credit cards, and I was like, that's more like for fifth grade, so I probably could use it in my class.
Mhm.
But they have like a whole bunch of things, and that's on like NEA, National Education Association.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I as I say, check that out then. I'm not as familiar with it, and I'm gonna go check that out after this to make sure that I stay familiar with it. Paul did ask a question. He's talking about one of the challenges he's facing is just the terminology and kind of the buzzwords and things that are happening. And he says that they're more interested in things like digital money and crypto rather than something like cash, credit, or checks. How have you helped with your students as they come across like new ideas or new things or things that may be exciting or dangerous or things that maybe they just don't quite understand, or maybe they understand it really well and you have to catch up with what they're learning?
I was going to even say, because we had a conversation earlier, that they don't know dollars and coins. So it's almost like that. They don't know they have used a debit card or a Visa card or whatever it is, but they don't know the history behind it, so to speak. So they don't know what actual money is to like kind of relate it. So they know about cryptocurrencies and stonks, as they call them, and Wall Street bets and all these different investments and things like that, but they don't know the history of it and that you're actually, buying companies. So for me, it's explaining that disconnect. It's kind of like, we all jump to cell phones and students are really good with cell phones, but they don't know how to use a computer now. So kids know how to use a debit card, but they don't know how to make change or use cash. So trying to connect that difference has been really helpful for me. And it's kind of painful sometimes because I'm like, you don't know that there's 4 quarters in a dollar, and that's a quarter is 25, and so on and so forth. So kind of stepping backwards and trying to connect the present and the future with where it came from can be kind of helpful. With Paul's kind of question to get them kind of up to date and up to speed. And I find that they're like, oh, okay, this my debit card makes more sense now that I understand, the history behind it a little bit and where it's actually coming from and what it represents. But the cryptocurrency is always everybody wants to get rich quickly. They don't want to, invest $500 for 30 years every single month in a Roth IRA and you'll be a millionaire. Nobody wants to do that, but it's consistency in math. And I try to teach them that as well. But they love the cryptocurrency and the stuff. So just trying to keep on top of it, but also being like, teaching the difference between trading, gambling, and investing and what it actually represents.
Now, one challenge that we faced here at Bonsai is that um, stock markets are something that you really are interesting. They're kind of fun. They're exciting. They come with pretty graphs. And also, I think one of the most compelling things about them is they kind of come with the sense of like, oh, I can make money quick using the stock market. There's all kinds of stories in the media and things, and that's kind of the fun, well, the more enticing part of the stock market. And as we were creating the stock market game, an important part was that we aren't trying to encourage um, get rich quick schemes with the stock market, but that is the most gamey part of the stock market. And so, how do you combine those two things together? And it took us some time to kind of figure out how we wanted to do it. And we did end up releasing a stock market game, which we tried to make fun, and also we wanted to um, encourage long-term investing over time, and just let the market do its thing. But that's a lot less gamey than trying to win big with just rolling the dice and hoping that your stock is going to do well, which they can kind of do in the one we designed as well. But ideally, they learn the investing over time is the more sound financial option. Um, Great. Any 1 second. I want to make sure that I was able to hit all the questions that I had. And then I also want to make sure that the chat, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Thank you, Jacob, for the link um, to the Indiana Business Education Association, and Kaylee, I think you made a link to the NEA. Appreciate that. So that is in the chat box. Um, and then Samantha Sanchez is asking, uh, does Bonsai have anything on other types of investments like brokerage accounts, money markets, mutual funds, etc.? That is a great question. So within our student curriculum, we don't go into that detail about those different finer details of investing. But in our adult curriculum, we do have articles that will touch on those things. So I'll bounce this question back off to our panel and to everyone else. Feel free to respond in the chat. Would those like brokerage accounts, money markets, mutual funds, would those be useful for your student curriculum?
For the older kids, yes, I can't speak to the younger kids, but for me, the older kids, we actually just covered that different types of checking and savings accounts, and they were like, "Oh, there's the savings and a high yield savings and CDs, and then a money market account. Why doesn't everybody just have a money market account? What's the difference?" So on and
Mhm.
so forth. So just having more exposure because I have a family member that has an MMA, but not very many people do. So just they don't get a lot of that exposure to it. So just having different things for them, I think will be really beneficial. Or ETFs versus mutual funds. Another one is mutual funds used to be the cool kid on the playground, but now ETFs is kind of replacing that. So just trying to make sure that they hear some of these words that they might not hear at home, I think is really beneficial.
All right, great. Thank you. That is good to know. Kaylee, for your fifth graders, is mutual funds going to be helpful?
Gonna go with a no on that one.
Okay, that's fine. It's at different grades. You got to be teaching the right things. So I will not be creating create your own lemonade mutual fund game, but I might have make another game for maybe the older students. That is good to know. Thank you so much, Samantha, for that question. The great thing about these webinars is we create them for the teachers, but I always learn things and I always get ideas for the content that I want to make in the future. All right. So as we're winding down, feel free to keep asking questions, chat, whatever's on your mind. And I just wanted to give the panel one kind of final opportunity to, if there's anything that is on your mind that you've been wanting to talk about, or a bee in your bonnet about something, or just something exciting that you've experienced this year teaching financial literacy, here is your opportunity. I think we got one question. This is Karen Cortez. Um, their biggest challenge has been selling the curriculum to teachers, uh, not just as another thing for them to do, but something helpful for them to use. So, what can we tell teachers and principals to help adopt it? And I guess by it, you mean financial literacy specifically as a concept, or something else other than it? But I'm going to say financial literacy as a concept. Um, Oh, Banzai specifically. Yeah, so feel free to help answer that, and I can also answer it as well. Just how, if your school or curriculum, if you have something that you really want to sell or a tool that you like, or how do you help the upper ups adopt it or allow you to do that or uh, take it off their firewalls?
Have them play the game. Start with that. Get them to buy into that game. Because that's honestly that's how I got into it. I was looking for things, decided that I wanted to include some financial literacy stuff. I started with the game, and the minute I started playing, I knew this was what was going to work for kids. Um, so lead a teacher bonsai class where see who can do the best in the class. But just let them get to experience it and see what it has to offer and use that as your hook to get them to say, okay, now that you've seen how it works with the game, this is all the other things that you can use at your discretion. But if they do nothing else other than the game, that's a win right there too.
Awesome. Well, the audio was was a little off. I just want to make sure, which game were you specifically talking about to start off with? Oh, oh, sorry, Sam, I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
You can, thank you.
Sorry about that. I started with the bonsai team. That was the first one I ever did. Uh,
Oh, you cut out again. All the Bluetooth troubles. No. Oh, Banzai teen. All right, thanks. Thank you for patience during the technical difficulties. Thank you, Jacob, for agreeing there in the chat. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of like a teacher-led, have them come and look at the games. We are also right now we are reaching out to districts specifically. I've been on a few calls with the different district members to help encourage them to start using bonsai. But we're really jumping into that, and we're going to start making and reaching out to a lot of districts. So, Samantha, if you have, if it's a district issue or even a school issue, please contact me at richard@banzai.org, and I can help set up something so that we can talk to your district or school specifically and help sell them, because it's a tool that we want available in every school. But as different as things are becoming more and more digital, schools are definitely becoming more and more picky about what they choose to have or not have in their classroom, which I understand and fully support. But we here at Bonsai want to make sure that we are hitting all the standards that they need, all the privacy issues, and also provide a completely free resource for teachers. And again, we never ask for money, we never expect that. So yes, and anyone else in the chat, if you've used Bonsai but are having trouble implementing your schools, please contact me, and then I will find out some more information and then start setting up for us to contact and talk to the upper ups within your district or school to help get Bonsai approved. And we are also trying to get approved in all states as well. So for a state resource, that makes us a lot easier to sell. Samantha said she's in Texas, and if she passes the legislature, you'll have to go to PFL as a mandatory semester course. And Bonsai would be great for that. Yeah, that's awesome. We'll keep an eye on that, and maybe talk to the various Texas people and see if we can be involved. We'd love to be in every school possible. Um, all right. Well, it is we've been doing this for 50 minutes. That's awesome. I just want to say a final thank you to our teacher advisory board. This is a small sampling, but not everyone is able to make it every time. But they've been such a wonderful resource, and they've been very patient with a scatterbrained person like me. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. Your input is always appreciated. Thank you, everyone who is able to join us today in the chat. And if you're watching this later as a recording, we hope that this has been a good resource for you. And if you enjoyed it, please contact us, and maybe we'll do more of these in the future. But something that I really love is that teachers talking to teachers about teacher issues is awesome, because as much as I talk with teachers, I am not a teacher myself, and so I am not going to be the expert. But thank you again, board, for being the experts for me. All right. As I said, I've been Rick Curtis. Please contact us on our social media and start following us. Or um, I think we just had like a big game and giveaway that was on there that was really exciting. I'm not as familiar with what that was about, but we're doing a lot of stuff with social media. And again, thank you everyone for joining. Look forward to more professional development in the future. We have these webinars at least monthly, and including other pre-recorded webinars. And again, saying goodbye and thank you from everyone here at Bonsai. We hope you all had a great time.